안녕하세요. 미국 투자이민 전문회사 국민이주에서 미국 투자이민 수속 맡고 있는 이유리 미국 변호사입니다. 2023년 현재까지 국민이주는 80만 불 케이스를 비롯해서 70케이스 이상을 올해 승인을 받고 있는데요. 2023년은 국민이주 창립 20주년이 되는 해입니다. 국민이주는 미국 투자이민 100% 승인 및 원금상환 기록도 보유하고 있는 회사인데요. 여러 리저널 센터와 돈독한 관계를 맺고 있습니다. 오늘 영상은 국민이주가 선택한 협력사 시비타스 리저널 센터 댄 힐리 대표와 함현익 이사님을 모셨습니다. 안녕하십니까?
안녕하세요.
Good to be here.
소개 부탁드려도 될까요?
Sure. I'm very happy to be here with you today, and thank you for the opportunity. My name is Dan Healy. I'm the chief executive and the founder of Civitas Capital Group. I founded the firm in 2009, and today we manage approximately $1 billion of assets on behalf of a wide range of investors, from individual to institutional. Among those, or in that time, we have served over 1,400 families who have invested with us through the federal EB-5 immigrant investor program across over 40 EB-5 offerings.
와우.
네, 저는 시비타스 캐피탈 그룹의 함현일이라고 하고요. 저희 본사가 있는 달라스에서 근무하고 있습니다. 2013년에 시비타스에 조인해서 저도 올해 10년째 시비타스에서 일을 하고 있고요. 저희 한국 고객님들을 돕는 역할을 하고 있습니다. 반갑습니다.
반갑습니다. 저희 회사가 올해 이제 창립 20주년을 맞이하면서 그동안 투자이민을 한국에서 가장 많이 진행한 회사인데요. 저희 회사는 리저널 센터를 선택할 때 반드시 미리 살펴보는 것이 있습니다. 이사님 혹시 그게 뭔지 아실까요?
굉장히 궁금한데요. 뭘까요?
이제 저희 국민이주가 제일 먼저 보는 거는 평판입니다. reputation.
네.
저희는 reputation을 먼저 봅니다. 물건을 살 때도 이미 검증된 브랜드의 제품을 사지 않습니까? 저희 회사가 시비타스 리저널 센터를 선택한 것은 평판에서 너무 우선적으로 확인을 했고 좋았기 때문입니다. 시비타스 캐피탈은 부동산 투자회사면서 미국 투자이민 EB-5도 진행하는 투자회사입니다. 투자이민 자금을 7억 불, 하나로 얼마 정도 되실까요?
이제는 1조가 넘지 않나요?
1조 됩니다. 예. 1조가 되는 그 돈을 진행을 했고 절반 이상을 상환한 저력 있는 회사입니다. 저희 국민이주 평판도 제가 궁금한데
국민이주는 어떤 미국에 있는 EB-5를 진행하는 회사한테 봤을 때도 다 아는 회사라고 생각을 합니다. 그래서
감사합니다.
네, 한국에서 대표적인
네.
이주 업체라고 볼 수 있고요. 저희 입장에서는. 그래서
네.
저희가 한국 시장을 진출할 때 꼭 의견을 여쭤본다든지 같이 뭐 일을 하지 않더라도 꼭 의견을 여쭙고 한국 시장에 대해서 꼭 물어볼 수 있는 그런 대표적인 회사라고 생각을 하고 있고요.
네.
그래서 제가 얘기 듣기로 뭐 네이버 카페도
네.
정말 활발하게 운영을 하고 계시고 유튜브 채널이라든지 정말 여러 가지 방식의 또 마케팅을 많이 활용하는 회사로도 알고 있습니다.
네이버 카페에는 저희 수속고객님들만 계시거든요. 몇
그래요?
가구 정도 되실 것 같으세요?
뭐 한 50가구 되나요?
아닙니다. 500여 가구 됩니다.
500여 가구.
네, 한국에서 투자이민을 이렇게 진행하는 회사는 저희 회사밖에 없어요. 왜냐면 말로는 우리 회사가 다 1등, 2등이다 하다고 하는데 숫자와 기록을 갖고 있는 회사는 저희 회사뿐이라서 그 부분이 저도 너무 자랑스럽고 책임감을 느낍니다.
500여 가구면 정말 많은 가구네요.
회사들이 하고 있고 저희도
저희도 사실은 500여 가구를 서비스를 제공한다는 게 얼마나 힘든지 저희 회사도 잘 알고 있습니다. 저희도 고객이 한 1,400 그 EB-5 투자자가 있기 때문에 그 고객들을 저희도 일일이 다 이제 서비스를 제공하고 있잖아요.
쉽지
얼마나 쉽지 않은 일인지 잘 알고 있습니다.
책임감이 있어야 되는 일이고 저희가 이제 보람을 느끼면서 일을 하고 있는데요. 투자이민 접수부터 원금 상환까지 이사님 보통 몇 년이 걸릴까요?
요새 같은 경우에는 5년 이상이 최소한 걸리겠죠. 근데 8 to 9까지 걸린다 그러면은 와 10년까지도 걸리는 케이스를 저도 본 것 같습니다.
그렇죠. 네, 이런 것들을 전부 수속하고 있고 지금 실제 수속이 이루어지고 있는 회사는 얼마 되지 않는데요. 그 중에서 저희 회사가 가장 잘 하고 있는 회사라고 말씀드리고 싶습니다. 시비타스 대표님을 저희가 이제 EB-5 관련과 이분의 다른 사적인 것도 저희가 슬쩍 물어보려고 합니다.
the way that we look at this, there's really two categories of risk that we need to take into account.
So number one is
The immigration risk.
okay.
Okay. And number two is the financial risk,
Yeah.
the investment risk. Okay. And most of our EB-5 investors are primarily concerned with making sure that they
Totally.
succeed in the immigration process. Now, of course, they are also very concerned about preserving their investment and
Yeah.
making sure that their capital is returned. But if they had to choose which one is more important, it's usually going to be the immigration objective. And so the way that we look at things is the very first level of our analysis is, are we very, very confident that the jobs are going to be created that are required to be created, even if the project has some kind of difficulty or financial problem? We want the job creation
I
to
know
still
that.
be
I know
there.
that.
There could be a very long answer to this question because the number of factors or components to a project is long.
Okay.
It's a long list. So I could give you a couple of examples that I think will illustrate a bigger point.
Okay.
One example is going to be we're looking very hard at the experience of the sponsor or the borrower. So if Civitas is going to pool EB-5 capital and then loan that EB-5 capital to a developer, we want to
Okay.
make sure that this is not the first time the developer is trying to do what they're trying to do.
So you have already a lot of experience of that.
Exactly. So we want to be dealing with people who ideally, have a long track record of experience doing similar things. And then, from there, or in addition, we're going to be looking at evaluating the real estate fundamentals, the demographics, the costs, the market fund dynamics.
Details.
All of those things, are going to, there's going to be quite a lot of work that will go into that. But stepping back, the big picture, again, is it always comes down to people.
Yeah.
It always comes down to, do we think that the team that we're going to be investing in can execute?
Yeah.
And that's really what you're evaluating at the high level.
Yeah.
The answer to this question, I think, is evolving very in real time almost, because even in just the last few weeks, we've seen in news in the industry of approvals coming in under a year or 11 months, and then we've further heard about one coming through in 9 months, and then even quicker than that.
I heard that there's a 4-month approval from rural project.
Right, exactly. So that's very encouraging news, but it's early.
Yeah, it's early.
There's only a handful of data points here. I'm hopeful that this is going to be indicative of what we can expect, with more volume. But I think it's a little early to come to that conclusion yet.
Yeah.
But it's encouraging. So under the law, the Reform and Integrity Act, there's a very specific definition of what rural means. It generally means a location that is not within a metropolitan statistical area, and if it is in an incorporated municipality, then that town has to have a population that is less than 20,000. Okay, so that the nice thing about that is that it's a very clear objective standard. So we can easily determine if something is in a rural location or not. Right, and that's helpful. On the urban side, a TEA is designated based on the unemployment rate, and specifically whether it's in an area that has experienced unemployment of at least 150% of the national average. And there are some a little bit of flexibility in terms of how you can designate those areas. It's based on the census tracts. So, like I said, there's some degree of flexibility, but it's pretty tight.
Yeah.
And it's also helpfully quite objective now. So we can easily, essentially, look online and determine, if a location is qualified as a TEA or is not. There are some competing priorities here. Under the Reform and Integrity Act, there is an incentive, which is new, for investment in rural area. If an investor chooses a project that's in a rural area, they can have a priority processing of their petition. And there is a visa set aside, 20% of the total
Under the law.
EB-5 visas are reserved for rural investments. And so the net effect of that is that the timeline for completing the process can be accelerated significly.
Much faster.
Yeah. So we were just talking about a moment ago, it's early still, so we don't yet know for sure exactly what that means, like how much faster is it going to be relative to an urban TEA. But the early indications are that it could be pretty significant.
Because
Now-
the law says
Right.
like that way. So let's see.
So so we're waiting to see a little bit more, but it does look like it's going to be material. So on the other side, the concern about investing in a rural market is appropriate, is legitimate, because there's a reason that they created this incentive. It's because investments in rural areas are difficult.
Yeah, difficult.
They are, as a general matter.
Yeah.
So when you're looking at a rural opportunity, investment opportunity, it's very important, to as it is in any investment, but particularly in a rural market, it's very important to understand the market dynamics and the fundamentals that are underlying that opportunity, because as a general matter, real estate projects or projects generally that are located in rural areas are probably going to be less liquid, and then they're a similar project in an urban area, just as a general matter. Having said that, there are I won't say numerous, but I will say that there are definitely rural investment opportunities available that can really make sense. We have just finished, or we're finishing, one in Colorado recently. These are hard to find. This one is actually pretty easy. It's a pretty easy question for me because it's been the same for pretty much since we founded the company. And that is, the hardest thing that we do is identify the right projects. We look at hundreds and hundreds of potential investments, and particularly now with the interest in rural investments, finding an investment that is in a qualifying location with a counterparty that we believe in and are confident in, and that we can structure in a way that is acceptable to us from a risk management perspective.
Thank you for joining us our YouTube channel, 국민이주 YouTube channel today.
Very happy to be here. Really appreciate the opportunity. Thank you for having me.
예.
안녕하세요. 국민이주 김정 대표입니다. 오늘 이렇게 방문해 주신 시비타스 댄 CEO님 그리고 함이사님 정말 감사합니다.
Thank you so much for having us here today. It's been a pleasure, and I very much look forward to continuing our partnership with Bookman. Thank you.
Thank you.